Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles, as always. On the show tonight, I'm joined by regular pundits John Mealy and Eric Shadowns to review last night's 3-0 home victory over Fabio Cannavaro's Dinamo Zagreb side on match day 7 in the UEFA Champions League. And remember to check out the River Bar for every match for the 24-25 campaign. All new members are welcome. So sit back and enjoy the show. As Storm Owen approaches, I have two guests that will certainly blow you away with their analysis. I've got, as I said, Eric Shadwins. Welcome back, Eric. I think this is your first appearance of the season, is it? I think we've got Eric on mute.
Good to be back.
He didn't even want to be heard.
You muted me to start.
You're very welcome back, Eric. Are you well? Keeping well?
Yeah. It's good to be back. I'm doing well.
It's great to have Eric back. We know free lunches for Eric sadly at work tomorrow. We'll certainly be free digs at him here on this show. I'm also joined by one who will be in work tomorrow. Every little helps. Sean Mealy, how are you?
Not too bad, Johnny. Glad to be here.
Are you looking forward to Mr. Storm Owen turning up tomorrow?
Absolutely. A little breeze. God, be grand.
We're all tough as nails on this show. Bit of wind won't hurt us. Into, as always, the review from last night. But before we start, it was nice to see pictures during the week of our former player that played for both clubs. Eduardo da Silva was on the training ground with Mikel Arteta. He was the fourth player to score in the UEFA Champions League back in 2006 for Dinamo Zagreb, and certainly Luka Modric played for the Zagreb team that night. Just briefly, John, we all know what happened to Eduardo, that crunch and tackle by a certain Martin Taylor, Birmingham City, but he was he had real potential, hadn't he, to be your number 9, hadn't he?
He had 6 or 7 months of being part of a really good Arsenal side, and that's back when we had 4 strikers, and we alternated them around. We had Van Persie and Adebayor would play 1 week, Eduardo and Bentner played the next week, and Eduardo and Bentner, well, absolutely superb together. I mean, Bentner gets a lot of stick for people to get he was a decent player.
He was.
Eduardo was a really good partner for him. That broken leg was basically he ended his Arsenal career, because by the time he came back, we got to playing one striker up front, and no one was getting in ahead of Van Persie at that stage. Which it's a crying shame, because the short time he was there, he showed a hell of a lot of talent. Great finisher. Definitely a player that I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of.
Yeah. What was your standout goal that you remember of Eduardo at Arsenal? I remember one, sorry John, the goal against Man City away, where he chipped it up kind of onto his chest and buried it past Joe Hart. It was nice.
But the one I'm going to say is the one when he came back from the broken leg in a game against Burnley. An absolutely fantastic finish. Place erupted. Everyone was delighted for him. Superb goal, and that's the one I remember.
Yeah, true. You won number 9. Eric, you would have remembered him yourself in his Arsenal days. He was a real number 9, wasn't he? He looked like before that injury he was going to have a good career at the Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of his best qualities was his movement. He was so sharp in his movement, and obviously the broken leg really took a lot of that away from him. And it's just too bad. It's another story at Arsenal of a player with massive potential who just had an injury or couldn't stay fit or whatever it was, and it's too bad, because he definitely was a player of real potential when that happened.
What was your standout goal in an Arsenal jersey, Eric?
I was going to say the Man City one, like you mentioned, because it was I just remember it being an incredible finish and being wowed by it. But I do remember the one John mentioned, because just the reaction from the crowd was, I think, made it a pretty special goal.
Yeah, he actually came back as well. He played for Shakhtar Donetsk and actually scored against us. I think it was in the latter stages of that group. I think we had nothing to play for. I think we won 2-1 that night, and he happened to score for Shakhtar. So he had his moments against scoring against us. But yeah, sadly, that injury took a lot of, I think, psychologically, I think he was afraid to go into tackles and all. But yeah, it was great to see him back in the training ground and the Arsenal welcoming. I said there was a picture in particular of Zinchenko going over to him, so it was a nice touch, and it's nice that that's the thing with Arsenal. We always remember our ex-players, regardless of past injuries or I say we've a few of them this season, so we're used to having injuries turning up. But no, it was great to see Eduardo. I'm sure he was delighted for his last night as well. It was Fabio Cannavaro's first competitive game in charge at Dinamo Zagreb. I didn't know he had taken over until I saw that last night. So it was interesting, that one. 3-0 to ourselves, though. Goals from Declan Rice after 2 minutes, which was the perfect start. I thought the floodgates would have opened after that. Kai Havertz, after 66, who thought had a great game. His movement in the box was superb, and Martin Odegaard getting the goal in the 94th minute, so that should lift his confidence and hopefully find his scoring boots from here on in. It leaves us third now in the Champions League table. Played 7, won 5, drew 1, lost 1, 14 scored, 2 conceded, and 16 points. We look really, if Bukayo Saka and Ben White can come back for the last 16 when it's in March, I think we stand a really good chance in this competition. Our next game, of course, is against Girona, who are all but out. 1 win and 6 defeats, and that's away next Wednesday. So that'll be a nice little sun break for the lads. Hopefully rack up a few goals and finish the group stage early. To yourself, John, avoiding the playoffs, which will be held in February, that's going to be a huge bonus, isn't it, John? Regardless,
Massive.
Yeah.
We've been talking all season about the games, the congestion of games. Every 3 days, and you've seen what it's done to the squad. The squad has been ravished with injuries throughout the season.
Yeah,
big players, not just squad players, big players missing. So making sure you have those 2 dates free, and you can rest players or actually do some proper training on the training ground, not having to worry about those midweek games.
Yeah,
fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So brilliant for the team, brilliant for the squad, brilliant for the manager. The 2 teams ahead, there's only 2 teams ahead of us in the Champions League group. They are probably the 2 informed teams in Europe at the moment, but we're not far off it. Yeah. Everyone that's going on about doom and gloom, think again. I know it's not perfect, but we haven't been playing badly, even with all these players missing. So it's great to be able to. You look at all those big teams behind us, aren't even guaranteed a place in the qualifying round.
Yeah.
Bayern, PSG, Man City, Real Madrid. So it's brilliant. Fair play to the boys, fair play to the management team. Great.
Yeah. Would you agree as well, Eric? Before we came on, you were saying yourself, avoiding that playoff, less games to play, and you can, as John says, you can concentrate on training now properly and getting the players back from injury. It's great just to have that worry gone, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably the most important thing we've done so far this season. But if you really look at our injuries and what's happened over the course of this season, one, it's a pretty kind of incredible result for the team. And if you look at the way we play and have played even in the Champions League, the one game we lost, I mean, we can say whatever we want about like how we play and all that. We kind of dominated that game. We just didn't score. And that's obviously been an issue this season to some extent, but that happens when you're missing Bukayo Saka and among others. So like there's certainly room that the squad can upgrade. Hopefully by the time that comes out, I'm sure we might get onto that at some point. But I just think that at a minimum, if you look at the way we play, we dominate games, we push teams back, and now and that has really seen us through in the Champions League, because a draw at Atalanta wasn't, oh my God, we're not going to win the title or something. It was a way for us to continue to progress, really continue to build our system, and the game model really seems to work. And I think it's going to be formidable for any team in the Champions League because we just don't give a ton away. And so having those 2 weeks off, get some players fit, training or no training. I mean, how many of those guys will train is probably even a good question. But if they're able to play at the weekend, it's a massive boost for the squad. Yeah. And you look at the squad we put out there yesterday, heavily rotated and everything else. I would assume we're going to do the same now against Girona. And that makes a big difference, right? Because all of a sudden we go in against Wolves at the weekend and we had a few players rested. Timber really only played 60 minutes. And so there's a lot of benefit to that. overall. And so I just think like getting the job done early as well was as important, because we really just need to take a burden off the squad, because we're short, and the amount of minutes these guys are playing are really serious. We talked right before this about how many games there's been from December till now. And so just even having a few guys able to rest is a big benefit.
Yeah, massive. Harry Kane, you assume there'd be a big squad rotation for the game next Wednesday against Tyrone, which is another help on the Force 11 that needs a bit of a rest, because the fixtures from December and this month has just been crazy, it's been show after show for ourselves. In terms of the lineup last night, it was Ray in goal, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Kivior and Timber at the back, Rice, Jorginho and Odegaard midfield, and Martinelli, Havertz and Sterling. I thought in the first half Sterling had a pretty decent first half. He definitely I can't see it really being extended his contract beyond this season, to be honest. In terms of yourself, John, were you surprised with that lineup? I know, given the injuries we have now, probably wasn't too surprised, but were you surprised with the lineup last night, the way he started?
Not really, no. He had to rest, put Partey on the bench. He has to give him a break sooner or later.
Yeah.
It's something that's probably been debated about the game of the weekend. Maybe we could have brought Kivior in. He's not a bad centre half, and this is why you bring him in for games like this, when you can rest your centre half. So I didn't mind that. Sterling, didn't mind him starting. I wasn't as impressed as you were. There's not a hope in hell he's going to have a contract from Arsenal in the summer.
Yeah.
What he needs everything that goes to him just seems to grind to a standstill. There's no pace to his game. He doesn't move the ball quick enough. I understand he might have the pace of running that he used to have, but he just takes too many touches before he moves the ball on. It's everything just grinds to a stop around. It is what it is. We need him. We need it. You need a player. He's going to get minutes. He's not an ideal player, but if we can get 2 or 3-0 up, maybe he can do a job the last 20 minutes just so we can take minutes out of the likes of Trossard and Martinelli. Unfortunately, that's all he is. And it's great to see Wanyeri coming back. So, right. It's great to see. Again, he's not going to be doing 90 minutes, so people need to get that out of their heads.
Yeah.
But that was a good sign to see him coming back. Great to see Tomiyasu at least back in training. I know Ben White is back in training. These are good signs for the squad. So I wasn't in the least bit surprised to see players rotate. Zagreb haven't been great in the Champions League. We got a great start, as you said, getting the goal in the first minute. And I always felt it was just going to be a matter of time before we got a second. So it's job done. The squad did well. The players who turned up did what you had to do.
Yeah, before we go into the highlights, in the match analysis of the game, Eric, do you think, I know it's been a while since you've been on, but do you think last night's game, with being the opposition, with no disrespect to Zagreb, do you think that could have been a night for Sterling to rip up the fullbacks of Zagreb and say, maybe he has a chance at the Arsenal? Do you think that? Were you surprised with that lineup yourself?
I wasn't surprised with the lineup, but at this point, kind of what John was saying, that Sterling is there to take minutes, and that's about it. I thought he was terrible for basically the whole game. So I don't really have like a lot to say about that. Now, what I would say is that I think that he has a problem, particularly with playing on the right, where because he cannot beat somebody to the line anymore, he's just stuck because he can't go to his left foot. He doesn't have a left foot, and at least if he plays off the left, he can come inside a little bit. He can kind of play a 1-2. He can trick around a guy or whatever it is. But I think you really run the problem of, once he's out on the right, the only way he can go anywhere is to the right, and every defender just stands on that right foot, and there's not a lot that he's going to do with that. But that said, like, to John's point, like, it's not like he's providing any clever passing or anything else. Like, he gets it, he passes backwards. Yeah. And the whole move stops every time it goes out to him. So I'm like, look, he's there for minutes. Like, I'm sure he'll start against Girona, because again, that's great. It takes minutes out of guys' legs. But like, overall, I just don't think he's a positive player on the pitch. I think I said to after the Villa match, that we were better off leaving Martinelli on than bringing Sterling on, just because he's a better player. Yeah, exactly. And so like, ultimately, like, however we want to look at this, like, he's just not at the level anymore. It happens.
Being an Eric for cutting across you, why do you think there's been a drastic decline in Sterling's performances? Is it just, we've got him at the wrong end of his career, maybe, or, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think he just looks like a player who's spent. He's in his 30s now. He started playing really young at Liverpool. He's played a lot of minutes in his career, and he was a player that really used his pace. And at some point, you start to lose that, and I think that's a big part of it. But I also, I do think like he would show better, not maybe great, but he would show better on the left. But the thing is, we have two better players that can play on the left, and so we don't play him there. And it's just it sort of is what it is. I think Jesus had similar issues when he had to play on the right, where because he wasn't beating anybody at the byline and he was really one-footed, that they just sort of cut it out. That's why teams use inverted wingers now, right? Is so that you have options that you're able to cut inside all of those things.
Yeah.
And if you can't show that variation like somebody like Nwaneri, then you're just going to struggle. And I think that's why, look, if we look at this season, if Nwaneri can come back and play real minutes over the next month or two, especially before we get Saka back, and probably even once Saka gets back, because when he gets back from a surgery, he can't play every single day.
Yeah,
so
he's fed back in.
Yeah, so our real hopes probably rest on a 17-year-old kid, because he's going to have to play real important minutes, and he's going to have to contribute, because that's what we need. We need a left footer over there so that somebody can cut inside and deliver good balls, and like he did to Rice yesterday. It's too bad he missed that, but like that's the type of cross that Saka provides, right? And that's exactly what we've been missing from that side, is somebody who can cut inside, play a 1-2, play a cross, and really with Sterling, he doesn't have that in his game, especially on the right.
Yeah, I might probably rephrase. He had a good game. He had glimpses, probably is the right word for it. But yeah, there's definitely a prospect in Eton. And where do you think all Arsenal fans, when they were chanting when he came out and he's one of our own, and he's growing into the team seamlessly, like Miles Lewis Skelly. So there's plenty of years of excitement to come from him. Yeah, it's a great point made, Eric. It's great to have you back on. He'll be on more now after them. He's worked his way into the squad. I suppose we'll delve into the action from last night. To the fourth goal, I suppose. Martinelli's crossing the box after 2 minutes. The layoff by Kai Havertz was just sublime. And the way Declan Rice took it, I thought he had a great game last night. And over the last 3 or 4 games, he's really pushed the team forward. His determination is just incredible, when you're just watching him. And in terms of the fourth goal, John, a cracking finish, wasn't it, from Declan Rice? And that's it.
Absolutely brilliant start. A nice cross in, as you said, great control by Havertz just to lay the ball off. Had a nice finish, and you couldn't have asked for a better start. 90 seconds in, fabulous. So yeah, really good goal. Great way to start again.
Yeah,
and you're right about Rice. Rice was brilliant last night. He's been slowly getting back to the player that we remember from last season.
Yeah, he's starting to become a figurehead again, isn't he, in that midfield? I thought Jorginho beside him had a really decent game as well. In terms of the fourth goal, Eric, it was the build-up play was great. The little layoff from Havertz, but what a finish from Declan Rice with 3 players, that could have blocked the books, got out of the way. What did you make of the fourth goal?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the layoff and the finish are great. Kind of shout out to Martinelli, who had the beating of his man, knew it, and he took advantage of it. He ran that guy ragged out on the left.
Yeah, he did.
And he knew he could get to the line, and he pushed forward very quickly and was able to deliver what was a really accurate cross. And we need more of that, right? We need to be able to get to the line, and then he delivers the assist on the second one. Both of those show that variation in play that we were talking about before. And I think that as much as we say, Rice is coming back to the fore, which is good and really important because we need goals from the midfield. I think Martinelli's really starting to look sharper.
Yeah,
I think that he scored like 3 or 4 goals in his last 8 games or something like that. Both on the right and the left, which is going to be really important for this team. And the more that he can continue to provide important contributions like that ball to Havertz is going to be really big. And look, I think that's one of the things Havertz also does well, right? He's really good in terms of just playing a one-touch pass, moving the ball on, and he's just really smart around the box. So I just hopefully we can keep getting more of that because we definitely need it.
Yeah, that's it. The little deft touching. You notice more and more in Kai Havertz's game, aside from his movement in the box that drives defenders mad, it's just a little deft touches that lays players into space to have a shot and all. Yeah, it's that. But that last night was the perfect time, and it kind of killed Dinamo Zagreb's momentum. You know, they were never really a threat, but having a month off due to their winter break in their own league. But you know, the earlier you score, you know, the more chance you're going to go on and control the game. Yeah. In terms of the second goal, as Eric rightly pointed out, Martinelli did a fantastic game. His running all night down that wing caused them no ends of trouble. The cross into the box, though, for Kai Havertz, who out-jumped everyone, and Nastasic, the keeper, had no chance. John, what a cross, wasn't it?
It was begging.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely superb cross.
Yeah.
Just off the defender's head, it was just begging for the run, and Havertz timed the run well, and just, you know, he couldn't. You're praying to God he got the goal. He's missed a few goals recently.
Yeah.
He deserved the goal last night because his all-round game was really, really good. I was delighted for him. But the cross was just, please God, someone get on the end of it. I was up in the air when the ball was in the air. I was waiting for just get someone on the end of it, and it was a really good goal. Yeah, so well deserved. Yeah.
It's from the, he's had highs and lows in January, hasn't he, Kai Havertz? But when he has a bad game now, his head doesn't go down. It's the next game he works towards, isn't it?
His all-round game hasn't been bad. I mean, his link-up play has been good. He's been pressing. It's just a missed chance. And unfortunately, that's all anyone sees. That's all anyone sees. But the rest of his game, I mean, let's be honest, he's playing so many minutes. As Eric was saying earlier, he wasn't meant to be playing all these games as centre forward. He really wasn't. But he's the only option we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got to get behind him. And I'm delighted for him because he played well last night. He deserved to go.
Yeah, it was a cracking. And as you said, Eric, in terms of the second goal, I say you were really impressed with Martinelli, but that cross into the box, it was just inviting, wasn't it, for someone to get on the end of?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things we just need to see more from Martinelli, where he has the pace, he has the movement to get to the corner of the box there, and deliver that ball over and over again. And you know, obviously variation matters. He basically created 2 goals with his runs and crosses, but I think that the more he can get to the corner of that box and deliver a whipped in ball, he's just going to see benefits there. And I think too, if you start crossing from there more, defenders are going to jump out further on you. If you get past him, all of a sudden you have a shot on, right? Because a lot of times they're stacking 2 players there, try to stop any shot from going in, and so he's further out from the box. So by delivering more of those balls, it might create more space to kind of trick him a bit further in and have a go. Because we need more shots from him, and we need more output overall. And I think that he looks like he's going to come good, and hopefully that continues. One thing I would mention too in that conversation about Martinelli and Havertz is that I think that they both now have the same amount of goals they had all of last season. And I think that it's just really, you know, as bad as Havertz had struggles with finishing there, like he scored a lot of goals this season. You know, it's not like he's on pace to go over 20 goals this year. And you know, Martinelli obviously struggled a lot last year, had that injury. And he struggled at the start of the season, but he's starting to find some form. He's starting to score a few goals. And it's positive, right? Like those are really positive signs for the club, but obviously like the amount of minutes we're putting in those legs, like how much can they do that on a consistent basis is going to be really tough.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And that little mini break can come kind of soon to refresh them as well, you know. And Martinelli kind of started last January as well off after we came back from that mini break. He started, you know, with that explosive pace and also, and I think that goal, it happened on the 66th minute last night, but it happened at a perfect time because the crowd were going, you know, just getting a bit edgy, you know. Zagreb were kind of maybe feeling we've a chance here to get an equaliser. It wasn't coming, but, you know, a game is never safe until you have that bank of a second goal, you know. And
I think one thing is we did make a few problems for ourselves yesterday, and that was the only way that Zagreb got any joy.
Yeah.
But obviously at 1-0, one mistake and you give up a goal, and so obviously the second goal was always going to be key.
Yeah,
they didn't create anything, but we did give them a couple chances out of nothing for no reason. So you know that's always a risk. But overall, look, like I don't think we played that game massively differently than we played against Villa. We dominated them. We pushed them back. We had most of the ball, and the difference is like, the mistakes didn't cost us. One, because Zagreb was like really bad compared to Villa, but like also that, at the end of the day, like, not if you continue to play that way, you're just not going to get burned every single time with like one chance or two chances.
Yeah, it's true. And before our third goal came, there was a few substitutions made. Sterling and Timber went off for a party, and then Weirdy, which I thought then Weirdy had a really good cameo for that last half hour, especially as Eric referenced earlier on there, the cross that he put in for Declan Rice was begging to be. I was really hoping it was going to be put in because it was a really Saka-esque kind of ball in. And Zinchenko and Havertz came off for Kieran Tierney, which was nice to see because he'll be leaving on the Bosman at the end of the season. And Leandro Trossard, who's had a really good last few games since that Spurs game. Did you feel, John, those substitutions, it was the right time to kind of, you could say, refresh things in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the like 25, 30 minutes was perfect for Wanyerdi,
Yeah.
Just to get him back into it. Tierney, I know we spoke about it last night, joking, but he's a consummate professional. No matter what, he has been for us. It's just unfortunate that injuries haven't helped him, and obviously the change of tactics that the manager wants from the left back, it doesn't really fit his profile. But when he does go, I think he'll go with and leave an awful lot of affection with Arsenal fans for his attitude, his professionalism, and just the way he's handled himself. He's top class. So I'm glad to see him getting on. I thought Zinchenko was, he hasn't got 90 minutes in his legs, so he had to come off. So again, I thought he played well, Zinchenko. But yeah, nice to see Tierney coming on, and obviously a great way for another kid, another product to come on off the bench. But Butler Aldeji,
Butler, yeah, you got to
great way to make your debut on the Champions League. So fair play, another one from Hale End. So he came on as well later on. So yeah, no problems with the substitutions whatsoever. And as you said, Trossard's in a real train of form, so it's nice to give him 25, 40 minutes at the end, just to stretch his legs and show what he can do as well.
Yeah, and stretch them fullbacks a bit more that Sterling couldn't do really. In terms of yourself, Eric, in terms of the substitutions Arteta made, do you think that, as I said to John, do you think that kind of refreshed things a bit, especially with Nanwiri? It gave the crowd does that a bit of lift, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a really important sign that when Eric came back quickly, he looked sharp from the get-go, and I think that's something we need. Like, we probably need him to start one or two games over the next couple of weeks here. So because he's probably our best option from the right now. And that's just a big important factor. We gotta get him up to speed and ready to go. The other thing I would say is that the two most important subs I saw were, one, getting Timber off at like 57 minutes. He's played just so many minutes, especially coming back from an ACL and everything else. Like, anything we can do to kind of rest him is really key, because ultimately I think every time I watch Arsenal and we have two proper fullbacks, I think we look exponentially better. And then when we play Thomas Partey, I think it's not to do with Thomas Partey per se, in the sense that I think his passing still adds a lot, but his inability to go up and down the line, I think, really gives us issues like within the structure of the team and how we create chances. So to me, like, this team, every time we play two proper fullbacks, we just look better. So I think the more we can make sure he's healthy and ready to go, especially for Wolves and City, that's got to be a priority for Arteta. And then the other is getting Havertz off, putting Trossard on. Again, minutes, like the amount of minutes these guys are playing, and especially a guy like Havertz, anything we could do to just give them even a 10-15 minute break, I think is really useful. Really good.
I think really good substitutions at the right times to give to freshen the legs a rest as well for those individuals. In terms of our third goal, which came in the 91st minute, it was a really nice long pass from Gabriel wide to Trossard, and with the Zagreb's fullback's legs turn, it was just the perfect player to bring on. It's just the speed he has running with the ball. Trossard, he's a bit about, he's just so good with the control, and the ball he put in. Rice was probably unlucky not to get it, but I think he kind of pulled back a bit because he knew probably got a show from Odegaard, get out of the way as I'm getting this. It really kind of put a bit of a gloss on the result, I think, for us, because from the domination we had over Zagreb for the 90 minutes, I think we deserved probably to win probably by a bit more. But what did you make of the tour goal, John? Really good, wasn't it, from Trossard again?
Well, yeah, he's been, as I say, he's in a really trying form. But I think more importantly, I think Odegaard hasn't been the Odegaard of last season. We've seen flashes. I thought he was good against Spurs, but we haven't seen him completely dominate again. And I think the goal will give his confidence to win the good. More importantly, I think that's the most important thing about that goal. Just give him a boost, give the fans realise, he's still here, he's still part of the squad, he's an incredibly important player. So I'm hoping that gives him a little bit more confidence now in the league, and especially in the league games coming ahead. So that's the most important part. It was just a nice way to finish the game. The game was over. We weren't going to lose it. We had the game won. It was a nice way to finish it off.
Yeah, in terms of the tour goal as well, Eric, it was a nice way to finish the game, as John said, but the little celebration from Odegaard after with the love heart celebration, it meant a lot to him, didn't it, from what he's gone through in January, with that ankle injury picked up in October. It was probably, I think that goal will probably help him. Do you agree, Eric, to push on?
I mean, look, all we can hope is that it's improving his confidence and that he's getting healthier. Like, I'm not convinced he's fully healthy. He just doesn't look as sharp in his movements and is as quick on the ball. So, the more confidence he has, like we need him to step up and be the best player on the pitch, especially without Saka. And the more that he can gain that confidence and gain that edge back, I think it's key. The other thing I would say is what I really liked about that goal is Gabriel really has that clipped pass over top in his locker. He's played that a few times over the years, and it's something I think I'd like to see more of, because I think that too often we get into that horseshoe. We don't take a risk with the pass to really stretch the defense. And I know it's tough because most of the time we're playing a lower block and things like that. But even if we're just doing that once or twice a game to really kind of stretch them back, or at least make them think about it, so that you fake the run and come short and have a bit more time and space. I'd like to see a bit more of that, because we have the players that can do that. Havertz could do that. Martinelli could do that. Waneri could do that. And as we saw, Trossard could do that. So the more that we can really kind of bring a bit of variety into that attack with some more ambitious passes from the center backs, I think that would do us a world of good.
Yeah, he has definitely. Agree with you there. He definitely has that in his locker, Gabriel. He says, and it's such accuracy as well at the long pass. Well, kind of what Bournemouth are doing under Areola. It's not just a hit and hope. It's measured long passing. Yeah. I suppose really to wrap up this game, lads. I think man of the match wise, before I come to yourselves, I probably have to give it to Declan Rice. I thought he was just fantastic last night, pushing the team forward, and that goal after 2 minutes, and what it means to play for the Arsenal. You see, it's like he's been playing for us on his career. He really does love playing under Arteta. But in terms of your man of the match, John, who was yours?
No, I thought Rice drove the game last night. I thought he was superb. As I said, he's getting back to his best. I look forward to seeing him maintain that now for the rest of the season. Hopefully, touch wood. Yeah.
Man of the match for yourself, Eric, from last night?
Look, Rice is a great shout. I think we had some good performances. Martinelli played well, but I'd go Kai Havertz, golden assist. He was really good last night. His movement was really sharp. His pressing was good, and I just thought he was exactly the player we want him to be, and hopefully that's good signs of things to come.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's always refreshing when we can't all agree. Same term. It's nice. John very rarely agrees, so it's nice to get him on my side. In terms of our last match, and when you see how difficult this new format is, when you see there's a possibility of Man City hopefully not making even the playoffs, it's quite refreshing that. But in terms of our final game next Wednesday away to Girona, they're all but out. Playing for pride, really, I suppose, being at home. Do you see yourself, John, as Eric said earlier on the show, this is a chance maybe for the likes of Butler, O'Day and Heaven to give the young lads a good chance? Or do you think he'll want to finish the group strong? Or sorry, the league?
Yeah, we were talking about this last night, myself and Eric. Now, I'm not too sure about this new format, but Eric seems to think that the seeding is going to count. So if we finish third in the group stage, that's going to make us third seeds, which should hopefully, you'd like to think, would give us an easier draw. Now, I'm looking at the teams lower down,
Yeah.
20, 21, 22, there's some bloody tough teams there you don't want to get.
Yeah.
But the management team might just say, no, let's guarantee third spot. Let's get her out there strong for the first hour, win the game, then bring on the young players. Just to guarantee that spot. Because we still have a chance. And we don't know who Barcelona got that last game. We could still finish second in the group. So I mean, if that's the way it works, then I'd like to see it finish as high up as possible. I'd like to see us keep that third seed, and hopefully it for once the Champions League will work in their favour. I'm sick of oh Jesus Christ! You win a group, you win a group, and the only time Barcelona comes second in a group they get us, or the only time Bayern Munich comes second in a group they get us. Drive you mad. So I'd like to see it at least once work in their favour.
Yeah, to yourself, Freddie. Can you see next Wednesday? Do you think Arteta will field a fairly strong team, or do you think will he field a few youngsters, or do you think he'll go for the game to finish, as John said, to get that third spot?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that at a minimum it'll look a little bit similar to yesterday. In the sense of I think Kivior will 100% start. I think somebody like Zinchenko, if he's healthy a week from now, will 100% start. It's probably a chance if Calafiori's healthy to give him some minutes. So and we have a few players coming back in. Maybe Ben White is healthy enough for 45 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It's tough to say because we just don't have that many players left. It wouldn't shock me if he did something similar to what he did last year. I think in the League Cup where he gave a start to like one winger. I forget who it was. But anyway, like the whole point being is that I doubt he's going to just throw a load of kids on there. One, because it's probably not fair to them.
Yeah.
You got to put them in an environment where they can be successful.
Yeah.
So like there might be one or two, but realistically, I think you're looking at a very similar lineup. Jorginho will probably play. I would guess, depending on this weekend, I would guess Rice doesn't and Marino plays because he's going to have to start and be really good against City. Overall, I just think that like it's not that we're not going for it or going for it per se, but I think it will be rotated in a way that we still can go on and try to win the game. I think we were talking about the Champions League format and like look back at the way we played against PSG earlier in this season and what happened to City there. Like, we're still a very, very good team despite, some injuries and struggles that we've had. And I think the way we play really gives us a chance in the Champions League. So I'm really hopeful that we'll get a good draw to John's point for once in our lives.
Bayern Munich for the 8th time.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. Like give us somewhere warm to go, baby, But I'm really still hopeful about the Champions League, and I think we have as good a chance as any other team in that competition. And I just hope that we can get players healthy in time for the kind of round of 16.
Yeah, it'd be good. I think with this new format, it's a crazy format, but it's every game you have to go out and win because you can end up anywhere in the table if you lose or draw the game, and to finish third, and as you said yourself, Eddie, to be seeded will be really massive, going into the last 16, but probably in all likelihood we probably will drop Bayern Munich again for the umpteenth time. But no,
we'll see. I mean, if you look at the table right now, third and fourth seems to be potentially better than first. But by the end of next Wednesday, it might not be. Who knows? It's really tough to say. But I think that like it doesn't do us any good to show up and just roll over for them either. Like we're in the top 8. Let's go over there. High. Yeah, and get players like Sterling and Kivior and all these others who need to get minutes. Give them minutes, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think that game, just briefly, as you said, starting Mikel Merino could be ideal instead of Declan Rice, with Merino knowing La Liga and the size as well. It could be a bit of an advantage. But yeah, I'm sure we'll I'll go the campaign on a high and not putting the Walker Senator on. Probably have the best performance of the campaign. But it'd be nice to finish on a high. Yeah, and Liverpool found it quite difficult when they were playing against them. So you have to really respect. It's always the opposition that have nothing to play for. Always finish on a high. Yeah, but it's been a great show, review show. Just like to thank my guest, Eric Shedwins. Great to have you back on, pal. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me back.
You've worked your way into the starting 11. You've given me a headache with Storm Owen approaching, and also to the one and only John the Baker, media. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thanks to Derek, who's stepping in for Martin, who's editing this, our Polish gooner. So thanks to him. You can catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel as always, and also on Spotify. But until our next show, stay safe and come on to Arsenal.